Welcome to Your Career Story podcast, a show that's designed for rockstar professionals looking for that extra booster shot of confidence in their careers. Whether you're trying to get clarity on a job transition, want some work-life balance inspiration, or need a strategy to snag that promotion or raise, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Jenna Viviano, ex-Wall Streeter turned startup junkie who now coaches hundreds of clients, empowering them to take back control of the job search and land their dream job. So sit back, grab a glass of wine, and prepare yourself for your weekly boost of career confidence. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Your Career Story podcast. And we are talking all about the Enneagram, the bonus bingeable episodes at Enneagram at Work. And so specifically what we're talking about today is the Type 6. And I love some Type 6 because I'm in love with the Type 6. So I'm excited to talk about this one today. But just as a reminder for people that the Enneagram is a tool for you. It's for self-awareness. And if you're using it to relate to other people, it's really for compassion and understanding. It's not to fix people. So we just want to make sure that we're using that as a disclaimer throughout this entire process. But Lauren, talk to me about the Type 6.
Okay. Well, Type 6s are very easy to love because they're the loyal person.
Yes.
Or the loyalist, or also sometimes called the troubleshooter.
Okay.
They are very faithful and loyal to the people that they have committed themselves to. So they are great people to have in your life.
Yeah.
So 6s will focus on figuring out what's going on around them to create safety and structure. They're loyal, they're dependable, and they're especially good at anticipating problems and creating solutions. Their challenge is to manage suspicion and doubt so that it doesn't demotivate them or other people. So 6s immediately can see where the holes are in any plan.
Okay.
And so
they're a little skeptical.
They're very skeptical. Yes, because they feel like if they don't know what the problems are, then they're going to be caught off guard.
Sure.
So they want to anticipate the problems, have a plan for the problems. And actually 6s are excellent when there actually is a problem.
Sure.
Because they've already thought through all the things.
Yeah.
So they know what they're going to do if something terrible happens because they've had a plan this whole time.
That is so funny.
Yeah. So they're really...
I'm like the queen, the opposite of that, where I like fly by the seat of my pants.
Yes. So it's good to have somebody who has a plan ready there for you. So
awesome. Okay. So tell me a little bit about the strengths and weaknesses of a Type 6.
Okay. So the 6's strengths, they're loyal and they are dutiful about responsibility. So if they always feel like so ones feel like they need to do the right thing because it is morally right to be right. 6s, it's more out of duty. So because of my connection to the family, I must do this. Or because of my loyalty to the organization or the person, I must do this. So they are going to fulfill the things that they say they are going to do.
Yeah.
They're very focused. Like we said, they're reliable, responsible. They're extremely thoughtful. They can see a lot of aspects of every situation, positive and negative, and they're able to consider all these factors as well. They can find the trouble spots that nobody else will notice, and they'll be able to assess those risks quickly.
Yeah.
So in business, if you want somebody on your team, you don't want a whole team of 3s and 8s and 7s who are just going to go, here's an idea, let's do it.
Yeah.
Immediately. You need somebody going, hey, hold on, let's pump the brakes for just a second. What about this? What about this? What about this? And sometimes to other types that are more action oriented, that can feel like you're trying to slow down the process.
Sure.
But we need them so much.
I love that. So what are some of their weaknesses then?
Okay. So when their ability to see problems goes to the extreme, they can catastrophize things, meaning their initial response to situations is usually way more intense than is necessary. So if they see a problem, automatically everything's going to be terrible and it's all going to fall apart or it's all going to be, something super dangerous.
Like a doomsday prepper kind of.
Exactly. So the most extreme 6, that's what you're going to find. Somebody who's got a backpack with them all the time, just in case.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
But it's all coming from a place of wanting to be prepared and safe and secure, and wanting others to be prepared and safe and secure. They have a compulsion to expect the worst. And so this can sometimes block creativity and spontaneity.
Oh, interesting.
So they're very creative with problem solving and finding solutions to things, but dreaming can sometimes be difficult for a 6.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, because they're immediately putting the limits on it. So instead of, like if you have a 7 who's just like, flying free with great ideas, 6s are always assessing and saying, oh, no, we can't do that. Oh, no, we can't do that because of, the holes that they see.
Sure.
So it kind of limits the possibilities sometimes in their mind. Sometimes they can be overly suspicious and suspicious of people's motivations. So what are you hiding? What are you not saying? And this is because they tend to hold things back. So they're projecting their practice of not giving all the information onto you. Wow. And they don't realize that some people are just out there and what you see is what you get.
Sure.
But they're always assuming that there is something going on under the surface.
That's really interesting. I definitely see that. I can see that definitely for myself with other 6s that I know that I'm in relationship with, that the skepticism a little bit, if in a kind of unhealthy place, or if that it could become a weakness very quickly. But the dreaming thing is really interesting to me. So as somebody who is a coach and encourages people in their dreams, it's actually good feedback for me to understand, like if I'm working with somebody who's a 6, that might be a little bit hard for them. So I'm even wondering for myself, what are some things that I could do to help them in that process?
Yeah, to take the limits off for a little bit.
Yes, just for a little bit.
You can put them back on and strategize about how to solve problems later. But if there were no limits, if problems couldn't happen, what would you do? What would you want?
Would you do? Okay.
One other thing about 6s, sometimes because they are so loyal, their loyalty can morph into an us against them. So here are my people. Yeah. And if you're not in my circle, then I have to protect the people in my circle from you. Interesting. And so they can be a little bit territorial in that way.
So that could happen potentially in a workplace, and you create some like cliques almost, which is obviously not a great place to be.
Yes. Or even if they see, someone as a threat, it will be, let me gather all my people over here so you can't hurt them.
Yes. I could definitely see that playing out at work. I even, I think the beautiful thing about 6s is that they are loyal people. And that's why I love the 6s.
Yes.
But you can really see that in honestly, the length of their friendship. Do you feel like people that are 6s tend to have like really long-standing friendships?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Brent, my boyfriend, he is a 6, and his friends are like, he's had them since middle school, the same best friends, which I feel like is very odd for men to have that for a long, long period of time. Maybe that's just my misconception, but he's had these friends for forever. They know everything about each other. He's always calling them up, and so it's just interesting. Have we convinced you to get obsessed with the Enneagram yet? Yeah, we thought so, which is why we wanted to send you into this holiday season with a little something so you can continue your Enneagram education. Head on over to www.genevieveviano.com/type to download our free guide, Learn Your Type, Love Your Coworker. This guide is a complement to the bonus Bingeable podcast series, and we've made it stupid simple to understand the Enneagram, your type, and how it can work for your career. We really, really, truly believe that the Enneagram is the best tool out there for teams. So we want to equip you to be the best rockstar professional you can be. Again, head on over to www.genevieveviano.com/type to download Learn Your Type, Love Your Coworker. Okay, let's hop back into my conversation with Lauren. Awesome. So how do we communicate with a type 6 if you work with them? What's the best way to love on some 6s?
So you need to keep your word. Because they are faithful and loyal, they expect that same thing from you. So if you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. 6s are always looking for, is what you are saying matching up with what you are doing?
Wow. Okay.
That's part of the skepticism. So they're watching to see what you say. And if something doesn't match, then that sets off a red flag for them of something that's not safe.
Yeah.
So that is very, very important. You don't want to hide potential problems. So if you're on a team with a 6 and something has happened, you need to bring the problem to them because they're really best at problem solving.
Wow.
So if they know about it, they want to get in there and start working on the problem, and they will appreciate that you didn't try to keep it from them. And that helps build that trust.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's actually helpful for me.
Good. I'm so glad. You want to share logical and factual arguments with a 6.
Okay.
And then let them think about it. So they're going to want to mull over things. They're going to want to think about things. And sometimes they can kind of live from a space of no, where their reaction to everything is going to be, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Or no, I don't think that's a good plan.
Sure.
But if you can present the facts clearly and then give them space and say, I'd really like to encourage you to think about this possibility and then give them the time to do that, they may be able to circle back around with a yes.
I love that. I love that. And so then if you are a 6, what are some, you've been doing this for every single episode and this is my favorite part. So what are some of the growth things that somebody who's a 6 can do?
Okay. So if you're a 6, you want to practice using the word and instead of but.
Oh.
So when somebody comes up with a great idea, instead of going, but have you, no, but this, but that, that's not going to work. What you can say instead is, I see your idea. And have you considered this?
I love that phrasing. And have you considered this? It's never what you say, it's how you say it. Right?
Exactly. So you get to ask that question because 6s love asking questions because it helps them figure out ways to solve the problems and helps them test whether you are seeing some of the problems as well.
Yeah.
They want to know that you recognize them too.
Wow.
So another practice for a 6 is to remember that people don't always have negative motive behind their actions.
I could see how that would be hard.
Yes. Yeah. So learn to trust the motives of people who have been proven trustworthy. So if you have people who have come to you with problems, if you have people who have kept their word and you see that what they say matches what they do, then you can let down some of the skepticism with them every single time.
Yeah, I love that. I could see that playing out specifically, like if you're on a project with people or you're on a team and you may be like, why are they doing it? Are they doing this to get promoted? Or, you could immediately run down that rabbit hole instead of trusting that they actually want the same goals that you do for the team. I could see how that would definitely be, we could all probably think that to some extent, right? We learn from that specific thing that you've talked about.
For sure. Okay, one more thing for the 6 is experimenting with moving to action before you feel that you have 100% thought through everything. Sometimes 6s can get caught, just like other numbers, like with 1s get caught in the idea of perfection or 4s get caught in the emotion of things. 6s can get stuck trying to think through every single negative possibility. So try not to get too bogged down in the what ifs and move a little bit before you feel like you're ready to.
Yeah, I love that. I actually have a friend of mine and she is a web designer and she's a 6. And she's, would say, I am a 6, this is me. And she 100% was this. She didn't want to launch her podcast. And we had like a working weekend together and I was looking, I was like, how's that going? How's the recording? She's like, well, I've recorded 4 episodes and I have all of the graphics and the blog posts ready for them. I was like, why have you not launched this yet? Like, what are you waiting for? And she was like, well, I just don't feel like I'm ready. Like, I need to make sure I have all these other things in place. I was like, girlfriend, I started my podcast and I had like 1 episode ready and I was lucky I had my graphics ready. You just got to like iterate at some point.
Yeah.
You got to get it out there.
You got to pull the trigger.
You got to pull the trigger and get it out there. And thankfully she did. And she's a rock star. I always say that I feel like 6s are relatively very organized and because they have to be in order to make sure that they have all the problems solved before they get there. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I love it. So if somebody thinks that they might be a 6, what do you recommend that they do?
I always like to start people off with The Road Back to You.
Perfect.
It's written by Ian Morgan-Cron and Suzanne Stabile.
Yep.
And it is a great just introduction to all 9 types. And it gives stories that can help people relate and maybe find themselves in the stories of other people.
Sure.
Or you could go to the Enneagram Institute website and look at all of the different type descriptions. They're very thorough. There's also places where different types interacting with each other, how they describe those as well. Or the best way is to have somebody come in and teach your team or do some one-on-one coaching. And that is what I offer. We can cater it to who you have on your team, who you have in your business, and how all of these types can work together well.
Yeah, I think that what Lauren does, guys, is really, really awesome. So if you're a leader of a team and you feel like, your team could use a little bit of cohesion. Her services really can help with that, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the majority of our stress doesn't come from the strategies, doesn't come from the actual function of the work. It comes from people. And if we can create environments that it's easier for us to communicate, because I really feel like the Enneagram is a great communication tool.
Yes.
The more that we can understand each other and work with one another, the smoother our daily lives are going to be in the workplace, and the more productive we're actually going to be, honestly, and efficient, and we're actually accomplishing the things that we're trying to accomplish at work. And so all while having a better time doing it, which is obviously super important. Lauren also has a downloadable that you can download to learn more about the Enneagram at work. And that's at laurenelkinsgray.com/freebie. And that's Gray with an A, right? And you can email her off based off of her website as well. And that's laurenelkinsgray.com. So thanks, guys, for listening. I'm super excited to have you here. We're going to move on to the Enneagram Type 7.
Yes.
Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for listening to Your Career Story podcast. I would love to get to meet you. And there are a couple of ways that we can connect in between episodes. First and foremost, I love my LinkedIn. Second is via Instagram. And third is over on my website. I actually have a special spot just for you full of fun, free resources. So all you have to do is go to www.jennaviviano.com/resources. Super simple, for a bunch of freebies that will help you boost your career. Hope to see you next week.